It is time for our annual update with the Young Living Draft Horse team. Every year, around this time when the draft horse season concludes, we carve out time to talk about this important and fun part of the bigger Young Living family. If you've never been to one of the draft horse shows, join us today for a peek into the farm life with a couple of professionals that love what they do and love the horses. Hello and welcome to Young Living's podcast, The Wild Drop. My name is Jacob Young, your host. Young Living is the world leader in producing and distributing premium essential oils, and this podcast will provide you with drops of information about Young Living, including stories, history, product information, lots of little fun facts, and even more. Welcome to the studio today, Tim and Brittany Sparrow, our draft horse team experts, our manager, driver, and co-driver. Well, Tim and Brittany, we're so happy to have you back in the podcast room yet again. It's been fantastic and amazing. You guys had an amazing year this year. Always adventure-packed, for the season of the Draft Horse Show. We closed out the season with a big bang, honestly. You guys and your team did a phenomenal job, as always, representing Young Living to the highest standard. And just everyone speaks so highly of you two and the way that you walk and talk and just represent Young Living. Dad would be super proud. My mom's super proud. Our family's super proud. So thank you for all that you do on that part first. And you've already started the season again. It's crazy to think you have the World Championships, Fall Festival, which is the first show of the year, of the new season. It's a little difficult to kind of understand. And then everything else that follows up afterwards. So kind of walk us through, the 2023 season and I guess your plans for 2024.
Well, 2023, we start off pretty well, like Loveland and Denver. Or no, they didn't have the show in Loveland. It was a show actually in Grand Island. And there was 2 sixes there. We won. We were second the first day and won the second day, and then we won both sixes at Denver. And then we went down to there was a show in Queen Creek, Arizona, and we were second the first day and then won the next 2 days. And the horses, all winter, the horses performed pretty well. And it's nice. The winter is, you can kind of, the horses get a little bit more of a break between shows. We have 2 shows back to back, but then they get a little bit of a break, and you can work on some fine tuning things in between the next show, and then we usually give them about 3 weeks off to a month in the spring, but then we kind of got to get them back into spring training for the show season starts the weekend before Memorial Day. So then we started off the show season in Grand Junction. We hooked some younger horses in there and things, and we were first, I think. And then we just kind of continue on from there. Wilmington, we were third and first. Won the first. We split up into two groups, and we were third the first day. In our group, there was 14, I think, roughly in that 6. So we were third, and then we all hooked together. So there was 27 sixes altogether, and we won that class, which is, always one for points, but also, the competition level was really high in that class, and to come out with a win is great. And so all in all, I would say I think the lowest we placed all year was 4th all summer. So, we had a great year. We were able to use mostly the same group, same 6 to 7 head of horses in the 6 all summer show season.
Yeah,
and that helps you get consistency and knowing the horses. Like most, the 4 or 5 of them honestly have been in the hitch for a couple of years now. There was a couple newer ones. We had a big wheel horse named Grady. We got acquired in the summer of 2022. We didn't work into the hitch until the winter. When I say big, he weighs 2,300 pounds and stands 19.2.
That's a big horse.
So that'd be 6'6" at his withers. So yeah, he's a big boy. But we got him in. He was in there all summer, and he did a great job.
Yeah. Can you kind of walk through the process as far as like horses and how you kind of swap them out during the hitch if you're wanting to train them for maybe future shows or for the future championship shows? Like, how does your kind of like recruiting and training going with the horses? I know so many people ask like, well, why do you pick like, King to be in the lead or wherever he gets placed? I know a lot of people would love to kind of understand how that works.
Well,
Make it in simple terms. I can see the gears turning in your head.
So there's a lot of things that can determine that. Sometimes too, it's just what's available. These are horses are athletes, and athletes get injured or get sick. So we'd always try to not use give them enough time to heal, rest, and recover. So then their injury, we don't make it so it's long term, but or also like just you can ruin it's like a football player tearing his ACL. If he comes back too soon, well, you could ruin his career. So we don't want to do that one with any of the horses. Generally, the smaller classes, the carts, the team, the 4, the unicorn, which is 3 horses, one in the front, in the center, and then 2 on the wagon. Use them a lot. We use them a lot in those classes to get them ring time and experience and see how they respond. Some horses are more aggressive at a show. Some horses are less aggressive. They're intimidated. So you kind of get the response to see, like bidding and checking and so when you do want to move them in the first string or you need to move them in the first string, you have the experience of how they're going to respond to the situation, and they have the training and the time. So that's kind of, the starters, the first string, most of the time they're pretty seasoned, or sometimes you work on a young horse and you just have to take your lumps a little bit of figuring things out because you need them to fit the hole that you need. Like Royal, we've had him 4 years now almost, and I plan on using him in the lead the first year, but it was a year of COVID, and so we didn't have shows all the time. I think they were every 2 weeks, so they had time in between. There was only 5 shows that summer, so he was only 3-year-old, so we didn't overwork him and stress him mentally and physically. But there was times of the first day of the finals that year, he was intimidated, and he kind of hung back behind the skipper, the older lead horse, and sometimes it ends up you taking your lumps, but that's the biggest thing, and it's a case by case scenario. It's just like a professional athlete, the rookies.
Yeah.
Some of them are really great, but they make mistakes because of lack of experience.
So, kind of speaking in that term, as far as like a rookie or intermediate, a rookie for, I guess, a horse in this kind of area would be like a 4 or 5-year-old. Is that kind of like their maturing point when they first kind of start their first shows, or?
Well, it all depends on, sometimes when we raise or purchase a horse, we might not show them until they're 4. But most of the time, we get them in the ring, some when they're 3.
Okay.
So I would say that's their college years,
Yeah, their big break.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Good way to put it.
Or rookie year.
Yeah.
But most of the time, we usually don't use. They're not into the first string until they're 4, just because physically and mentally, they're more mature.
Yeah.
And they can just have the maturity and the stamina to finish the class the way they started the class.
Yeah, they finally get out of their teenage years.
Yeah.
They're more focused on themselves and not goofing off. So, yeah, great. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all of that. I would love to hear from you, Brittany, on kind of what it's like for you being a mom and a teacher and also kind of like the co-coach during the whole season. I think it's amazing that you two have this crazy dynamic duo, and that you do this with your family all year long.
Yep.
You have the kids also come with you, which I think is even better. Seeing all of your little ones, just doing what they do, and they love the horses. The community in the draft horse world is phenomenal. Everyone that I've met is just an amazing soul.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing, is we get to have community. Probably breaking it down, those are my 3 roles, being the assistant driver to him, mom to the kids, and then taking care of all the logistics for the staff, taking 12 horses on the road, 4 staff travel with us full time, and then 3 staff back here. So we've definitely grown as far as being a couple on the wagon. I would say when I first started and I was going to ride with him, we had a discussion, and it was very much of...
Oh, I already know how that goes.
What happens on the wagon stays on the wagon, and I would say we're pretty good at that. There are definitely times where I have to get off the wagon. decompress because we're maybe going to say something that we shouldn't, that we can't take back. We've all been there. But I would say I feel like it's our advantage to being a husband and wife up there on the wagon, because there are moments where I can read him and say, okay, he definitely needs me to just be quiet. He's very focused. The horses just aren't performing like he wants, and he really has to micromanage one of them. And that takes a lot of focus. Or there's other times where there's a lot happening in the ring. You've been at Shipshawana. It's a small ring. We have split seconds where we have time, and I have to communicate all those things. The hitch in front of you is going slower. The judge is watching. We're going to be third on the reverse, so there's going to be another hitch coming at us head to head. And we've had young horses in the wheel, and I'm like, okay, we are going to have another hitch coming at us. Spike isn't going to like that. Keep an eye on him. So you're communicating a lot of that. But I think another advantage that we have to having worked together now for 6 years is we also have our roles at the barn where we independently grow. And I think every couple needs that too. You need a space where you can grow independently and succeed, and then you can come back. And we always just said we knew we could accomplish more together than we could apart. Then the kiddos, they add a lot. A lot in a good way,
and
too.
you have Rylan and 2 little girls, right?
Bryn and Briar. So Rylan is 11, and he's our junior driver. And so all the kids have literally been driving 2,000-pound horses since they were 2 years old.
And the little pony. You can't leave out the little pony.
And PD. Yep, PD
Which you
travels.
also bring with you to your trips. I always love, I'm so sorry for interrupting, but I always love that every time I see Rylan, he's like, you've got to drive Petey. We brought Petey with us. You got to drive Petey. And this poor little pony, bless his soul, he drives around these kids for hours in the morning. And Rylan always comes up to me, you got to drive Petey. And I just look at Petey, and Petey's like, please don't do it. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Don't
it's
do
the
it.
Little kids.
He does lose a little weight, which he needs.
Yeah, the kids all get their moment to shine with the pony. We bring him along, and before the big hitch classes start, and that part's kind of fun to watch as a parent in the background, because you're always wondering what you say to your kids. Is it really like sinking in? And we'll catch them driving PD, and they'll be out there, and they'll have like the assistant driver, me, and they'll have them, and they'll have the judge, and they're lining up. And the things that they say, and oddly, a lot of the things that they articulate as far as, oh, he's not driving on today. Oh, we need to check him up. The things that you think that they're not catching on to, those small details.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're
always listening.
Yeah.
Always listening.
And Rylan is a perfect impersonator of Tim. It was great seeing him in the single car during the youth classic to watch Rylan and then shortly after to watch Tim come into the arena, and it was like, oh, Rylan is his father's son. Oh, yeah. Undoubtedly his father's son. Yeah. It was so perfect and just great to see. I love that part.
As he grows, I'm definitely becoming Rylan's co-pilot, and he says the exact same things, a bit sharp sometimes to his mother, just like his dad. I'm like, I'm just up here to help. I'm supposed to be helping here, you two. He did get the opportunity this summer at one of the small shows to ride in the 4. Mm-hmm. And he took it so serious. He was just stone-faced everything. And again, you don't know what they've picked up, and you hope the other role of being mom and dad, because we are very focused. There's lots of times where I have to tell them you need to wait. Every parent has to do it. Mm-hmm. But we've hoped that we've brought them along on this journey with us, and that we didn't just drag them across the country, but just like you referred back to, the community. They're just things all summer long. Our kids get to run around with all the other show kids back and forth. And it's, see you when the lights go out, because they get to run and have that freedom and play. They also have responsibilities. Like when we're at the show and we're tired and we're hot and we're hungry, well, guess what? We're going to have to take care of the horses because they can't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Like one of our biggest traditions we've kind of started is on Christmas Day. That everybody wants Christmas Day off, but guess what? When you have livestock, they need to be cared for.
Yeah.
So one of the staff goes in and they feed the horses, and then after our kids open up gifts, we go over to the barn. And I just feel like there's so many teachable lessons right there that we don't have to teach per se because that's just life. Yes, you got to have this awesome gifts that you open, but now we're going to go take care of the animals because that's the responsibility that we have, and they really take ownership of that. Probably the other biggest part is we don't always win. And there's days we have to get back up and we have to try harder, and that's a life skill that you're going to have to. Life is not always going to work out just the way you want it, and you're going to have to pick yourself back up, and you're going to have to do those things. And I feel like, again, I don't feel like I'm teaching that. I'm just living that, and what better way for them to see it firsthand.
It's all part of life, and they get to experience it and just kind of learn and grow from it, which is fantastic. And I can speak from experience. At least I feel like I can speak on this part. But I know them joining you on those travels, in the moment at times, they may not enjoy it, because I was the same way when I traveled with my mom and dad a lot. There were a lot of times where it's like, I could be home with my friends and I could be playing video games or all sorts of kind of things. My friends went down to Lake Powell, But looking back at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that I was drug along.
Yeah. Yep.
Even though I wasn't really drug along, but I was just there and I got to experience it. And I have so many memories that I can share with friends and family, and I can talk about it and share with my grandkids eventually. And I know, like I said, from time to time, in the moment, they may not enjoy it or appreciate it or love it, but in the future, they certainly will be very fond of it. They'll look back on it and they'll just be able to talk about it and share. And they'll grow from it as a person as well. So I think it's phenomenal what you two do. I really do. The fact that you're able to compete together, the way that you're able to work on each other, to work with your family, and you get to bring your family along, and just everything that you do as far as like looking back at it and thinking all the tasks and the chores that you both have, and somehow making that all work out while raising a family at the exact same time. That is a very difficult, yet you make it look easy feat.
Oh, wow.
So
that would the credit would go mostly to my wife on that one. Because when we get to horse show, I'm pretty focused. I mean, not that, if the kids want to do something, or talk to dad, but like as far as, they know when they need something, they go to mom. Because dad's like, go with your mom.
But as they get older, you're getting that unique relationship with them. Like you actually ride with Bryn in the cart class, and I ride with Rylan, just different personalities, or sometimes they're both in the ring at the same time. And I don't know, I have a picture from this summer, and I hope that this is also a life lesson to her, because being a woman, being a little girl, and as she grows up, there's going to be difficulties, and you're not going to always feel like you're succeeding. And I just hope that we're giving her that confidence that you literally are like 45 pounds. This horse is 2,000 pounds, and you can control it. So if you can do this, honey, what else can you do? And he rides with her, and his hand encompasses like her entire torso. And you said,
I put because she's so little, just so that way she doesn't get pulled forward. So
well, the reins alone probably weigh more than she does. So,
but it's unique.
At the fall festival, she was driving a 3-year-old that we raised at the farm. Night, and he said he has a really good temperament and demeanor, but he's young, and in the cart class, and so he was a little wishy-washy across the reverse, and she were going across the reverse, and he's like any little hand movement, he was really
veering.
Yeah, and his steering was very sensitive. Like you're driving a car, like your steering's really touchy. Well, he was kind of being that way, and I said, "Drive him, Bryn." I'm twine, she said, because she has a little accent. Yeah. It's like, I'm twine, Dad.
Yeah, I like how the grown man, little girl, 2,000-pound horse, just do it, and I'm twying, like, because I'm giving all I got. Or this is the perfect example. We haven't talked about Briar, the third one, and she's just kind of up there and living her best life with this whole scenario. And when you ask her all the time, well, who do you work for? I work for Young Wibbing. Because again, at 4, we can't get out the words.
Can't quite enunciate. It's all good.
We get here today, and I need to get my badge all updated and things, because down at the farm, it doesn't quite translate up here at corporate. And I can hear in the back, and I'm like, oh, mommy moment. The lady at the front desk is, what's your name? Briar Sparrow. And she's answering so nicely. And I'm down at the farm, and we have the Pertrons. And I'm like, wow, she is really doing nice and so comfortable to talk to this other adult. Life skill. I turn around. She's scaled the petrified wood and is sitting at the front desk. This is the corporate office here.
Her legs crossed,
And she got her
talking to the
legs-
receptionist.
Yeah, she's got her legs up there, just having a grand old conversation, because she is literally a stranger is a friend she just hasn't met today, and we have this common camaraderie, because if you work for Young Living and I work for Young Living, we're just all. How is
We're all one big happy family.
Yeah, that's how their world is, and I know eventually that's gonna get tainted a little bit. You got a stranger danger type situation, but I really hold on to that as long as I can for them. But
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
Her in a nutshell.
Oh,
Just
I wish I would have seen
comfortable.
that. That would have been great. Awesome. Yeah, so this is the third year that you've actually come in and we've checked in with you. And for any of you listening, if you have missed any of the past episodes that we've done with Tim and Brittany, please go back and check them out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically wherever you can listen to podcasts. That's where they're going to be. And you'll be able to hear more of their story and about the Draft Horse team itself. So yeah, in the last 3 years, we've seen the team and you guys grow tremendously in so many different ways. And I would kind of like to get your guys' perspective on how you've kind of seen the last 3 years, reflect on the last 3 years, kind of maybe talk about like how you've improved or the differences that you've seen, for better or for worse, and how you guys step back and look at it as a team and be like, okay, that's something that we could step up on, with our horses or with ourselves. I would just kind of love to hear that perspective.
Well, I think experience always is the best teacher. There's not a school for this, and so I grew up doing this since I was a little boy, and so like I said, experience is always the best. I always feel like is the best teacher, no matter what you're doing. And you look back on things like what has worked for you in your training and your driving, and what do you feel like, what can we be better at? And at certain points of the year, what could we be better at? And the first few years we were here, we always started the fall we do well, the winter we do well, at the beginning of summer we do well. We hit middle of July, end of July, till kind of seemed like Labor Day. It just didn't seem like things were clicking with the horses. And so kind of how I've adjusted with that would be, especially when you have some older, more mature horses, is you want to drive them enough at home so they are in shape. But I always say you win the ribbons at home, but you don't win any ribbons at home. So some of the older horses don't need the time and the mileage at home as much as they do at because they know what they're doing. Depends on kind of let the horse tell me. Like you might drive them 4 days in a row and be like, okay, they by the last day they've really kind of figured out what I'm asking of them right now. Let's give them the next 3 days off.
Yeah.
And we'll go, come back to it. And then some horses, it's like a flip of a switch, like that the day after, the first day after you drive after the 3 days off, they just, they're just more expressive. They're more aggressive. They're happier. You want them to get where they're, like the really good ones, Royal Baja and King. And, we can, we talk about the superstars like Royal Baja and King, which is Royal Baja, the lead team. King is in the swing, and King has won 3 championships, one previously before we owned him, and he's getting pretty seasoned. He's going to be 12 years old, but I hope he's kind of like Tom Brady, just keeps going.
He's our Tom Brady. Yeah.
But they love it. That's you want to get them to the point where they don't. They just love doing it.
Yeah.
Like some people ask, you're think you're making them, they're forcing them to do it. Like, no, the great ones, they love it. You bring them out of the stall and they just very quiet and docile and just kind of hang their heads while you're getting them ready and stuff. As soon as I put the bridle on them, they're just different.
They know
it's go time, and it's like when those great athletes, they strap their helmet on or lace up their gym shoes. They're ready to go, and so sometimes you read the horse.
More individualized training.
I would say that's probably where I've grown more is maybe. So now I've backed off on how maybe it might be 4 or 5 times less driving at home, but I feel like the horses have performed better in that kind of that time when we've had some slumps in the past, like August.
Yeah,
that's kind of the show season's got it. You're 3/4 away done with the show season. So they're, they stay a little fresher. They stayed a little happier. Just they haven't been overworked. And like I said, the cliche I have is you win the ribbons at home from your training, but you don't win any ribbons at home. So you don't want to overtrain them at home, overdrive them at home.
Oh, for sure. I think it's watching some of the Facebook lives of the classic drafts. I quickly want to touch on kind of what you were talking about, where they love doing what they do, and every now and then, kind of rare, but every now and then you'll get the one person that leaves the comment like, "I can't believe they're making these horses pull these giant wagons. Like it's so abusive and stuff." These horses work to live. I don't think people understand the draft horse mentality is if they do not have a task, if they do not have something to do, they literally get depressed. They get sad, they get mopey, they have no sense of purpose. Those horses want to work. They need to do something. And when you give them a task or a goal and they know how to do it, they do it. Just like you said, they'll come out, they'll kind of be a little sleepy, like, oh yeah, throw it all on, I'm ready. But as soon as the gear's on, they know it's game time.
Yeah.
And my dad's horse, Simeon, who unfortunately just passed away recently, she was the exact same way. Even after we retired her, every time she heard the jousting arena turn on, she'd be pacing the stall. She's like, I know where I need to be. Get me in, let me in. And that is their whole goal and purpose in life, is to do what they love to do. And that's to work. And for them, for lots of different types of horses, work is something different.
Yeah.
But for these horses, this is their work. It's their playtime. And you can tell and that's what my dad loves so much about Percherons, is they're so proud with what they do. They stand so tall, they stomp so hard, they pick their legs up so high. They're just proud with what they do. And they're just beautiful, and they do it so effortlessly, so majestically at the exact same time. And then it's also great, once they're off the wagon, they're like, okay, back to the stall, time to eat, They know, they have a sense, they know, but they love what they do. And it's beautiful to see them doing what they love. That is my favorite part.
Yeah.
And they get pampered. I don't think people realize this, but just like you said, they're professional athletes. They work hard. They play hard, they sleep hard, like everything. You guys treat them so well. You give them so many treats. And it's great to see the treatment that they get. You have your brother come in and do the chiropractic work. They get worked on more often than I get worked on from a chiropractor standpoint. It's almost kind of not fair. And just the way that they get loved on by all the people that walk by, they are truly blessed, and they are living the best life possible. And I hope that for any of you that have made it to the shows, that you get to see that as well. And if you haven't made it to any of the shows, you can follow the World Classic 6-Horse Hitch, I think is what it is. It's a Facebook profile. We'll leave it in the description down below, but they show all the shows. Brittany also has her Facebook page.
The Young Living
Percherons.
Yep.
And they post about all the shows there, which you can see. And sometimes they'll do live series, so you can watch that as well too. But it is great to see all of that. Okay, we're going to get into the final part here, which was the World Championships. So I kind of want you to kind of walk through, the days and kind of tell me how you guys were feeling each day. And honest, it was so close this year. Yeah. We had a really impressive competition. Jackson Fork always does a phenomenal job. Yep. Shout out to all of them, if they're listening. Love their team and all the people that are there. They do fantastic, and they just great people. I love all the people in the draft horse community. So.
Well, that's what I think kind of Tim was summarizing the shows for us, but he probably didn't touch on. Most of the summer was pretty much that second and first, back and forth between Jackson Fork and us. Express also is a really great competitor that we have out there, but we knew it was going to be a tough year, and we kind of set ourselves up the last couple years. You can kind of read the redrive. So we have our initial heat in case the judge wants to see any of the hitches back and compare them head to head. We have what's called the redrive. And we just had the last couple years, if we didn't kind of make that first redrive, we knew we'd made a bobble. The judge just had not liked something, and you start kind of behind the 8 ball the very first day. So I feel like this year I tried to phrase it as excitement in my head, but I knew it was nerves, because I just knew we needed that first day And when you hit that ring, it's just not like any of the others. If you've been down to the Fall Festival, we have a huge sweeping arena where we hit the Shipshewana ring and we're in there and I'm like, oh, we're turning right away. Like it's quick and everything is very quick. So it was very nice to get back. The first night the redrive was between us and Jackson Fork, and I thought, okay, I know at this moment we're vying for first and second. This is how all summer's been, but we're on the right track. And we just kind of went into the whole finals with the mentality we can only control what we can, and with our horses, we can only make them as good as they can be, and that's the only part we can control, and we just need to leave it all at that.
Yeah. I think redrive is honestly one of your guys' biggest strong suits.
Yeah.
The horses still do very well in the actual drive itself, but they almost kind of like they almost always know that there's going to be a redrive. So they're like, we're going to save our energy. We're just warming up right now. We'll still do good, but the redrive is what will save the real show. And then you guys come in through the redrive, and it's almost, I wouldn't say it's like a night and day difference, but you can just see like the horses finally kind of come to life. They're like, okay, it's really game time. Like, we're actually here to do something. And so that redrive the first night, like there was no doubt that you guys took first, which I think first day we did take first after looking at the score sheets and whatnot. So that was really great to see. And it was also, you know, with Jackson, which you kind of knew back and forth. And their driver, Ross, does a phenomenal job of driving. And I love the friendly competition that you guys had back and forth. It's just great to see that. Great. So that was first day down.
Note, he also puts his wife up on that wagon. He knows what his competitive edge is. Nicole and I we have a lot of support for each other.
He makes the claim that it's always better to have a guy and a girl up there. You want a nice, attractive co-pilot up there. It looks more pleasing to the eye, he says.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get brownie points.
Yeah, distracts the judges from the horses. Yeah. We know how it works out. Great.
But yeah, when you brought up the redrive, like, I don't really plan that, but I just feel like I always feel like that's a good indicator that they're in shape.
Yeah.
They're tough because the longer they drive, the more they like it. And usually it doesn't matter where we place. When we leave the ring, they're still ready for more. And I always feel like that's, you know, like I said, a good sign that they're tough, they're hard, and they like to do it because, like, the more they do it, the more they want to do it. So the second day, moving into that, our home racehorse, Baja, he broke in front of the judge. And the first drive.
By break, a little bit of a hop, kind of breaking out a pattern.
Breaking out a trot as a 2-beat gate. Well, he went into a canter. Yeah. And for about 3 or 4 steps, and which is, our gates are just a trot and a walk mostly, just for, 99% of the drive is the trot. And so Ross had a good first drive, and we end up being in a rework again just with the Express. The judge let Ross sit because he had a great drive and we had a bobble the first drive, but we ended up being second because it was kind of the same thing when we came in the rework. I felt like that might have been our best drive the whole show, was that rework the second day.
Yeah.
And you know, and then I was like, well, hopefully we were second. You never know. So I had the feeling that going into the third day is whoever beat, between the two of us, it was whoever beat who. I thought we were tied. I kind of felt like we won the first day. We probably got second, and hopefully we got second. Yeah. And they were second and won, so we both each had 3 points. So moving into the last day, then
we should maybe note that we say we think, we're not sure, because all the results are sealed each night. So we don't truly know.
Until the very end.
Yes, yep. So you're trying to game plan, but yet you're going on a lot of that reading how the summer's gone. So that's where we say we felt like we had both beat each other one time. So it's going to come down to the final night. That
second night was definitely gut turning in a way, because no one really knew. I think everyone kind of had an idea that either Ross, from Jackson, had placed really high and the judges just really liked him and didn't need a redrive. Or there was something that didn't quite work out, and they liked how we looked and Express looked. So it was kind of, no one was really kind of sure like what was going on. I think, Ross in a way was also kind of maybe thrown off a little bit by it. Because I feel like that's the first time where someone's just driven so well the judges didn't want to see a redrive from somebody. So
At that level,
yeah, it was definitely something that was new. So, but yeah, second day was definitely like really interesting. Kind of like couldn't really read it, I guess is the correct terminology. But yeah, and then going on to the third day, the last and final day.
Yeah, I felt like we set ourselves up for success to be in the right there where we wanted to be the last day, and didn't really make too many adjustments. We just wanted to make sure that they were, strong and ready to go, and they were. I thought they drove. That was probably the most consistent day between the two drives. I thought the last day I didn't feel like there was a lot of difference between the first drive and the second drive. Like I felt like they were really solid, drove hard, powerful, and he probably a little bit to our detriment that last day. The rework, there was 4 of us in there.
Yeah,
well, the hitch in front of us, they're a nice hitch, but they just don't cover as much ground as our horses where they travel, and so we kind of caught up to them in a hurry. So we didn't maybe have as much room, but that was the same for everybody. So
yeah, I feel like that's the one downside to that arena. And I was sitting there, I was kind of frustrated for you guys. I was like, that team needs to move so much faster. Like, keep going. Yeah. Like, our horses, they have such giant strides. And I think they were Belgians that were in front, or maybe they were
they were Pertrons. It was Red Oak.
Red Oak.
Oh, Red Oak, right? Yeah, Red
and they
Oak.
are a smaller stature. They just don't have.
They don't carry as far as they do, and that's kind of what I was saying. Is everyone was getting in and slowing down. Like they'd go and slow down and go and slow down. I was like, no, just keep going.
Yeah.
I was getting frustrated for you guys, but no, it was a beautiful showing. And then my favorite part is they bring all the teams in just to kind of congratulate. Like regardless of placing, they just want everyone in the crowd to let everyone know that everyone works so hard to get there.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of work and passion and dedication that goes into driving. No matter for how many years you do it, if you do make it to the World Championships, just driving for one show is such a huge undertaking, and then having to pack it all up and drive to the next show shortly after. It's phenomenal what these teams do. It's phenomenal what you guys do, and it just truly shows that people do it because they love it, not because they want to do it, but because they love it. And I just am truly always blown away by the professionalism and as well as the cool-headedness of each individual person that's there. And it's just so great to be able to congratulate everyone and see being surrounded by your peers, essentially, of just, wow, we've made it. Regardless of where we've been placed, we made it. We did so well. We worked so hard to get here. And it's just great to see that. And then, coming down to those final last straws, sitting there and waiting to see what your placing is. We did get reserve grand champion this year, which is still an amazing feat and a 1 point difference.
Yeah.
And it was that second day. That was the 1 point difference. But they're horses.
Yep.
And there's no control. You guys did so well, and next year.
That's what I like a lot about that finals, how they bring the crews in. I feel like we didn't even touch on that whole part of when I said the logistics, that we have to give a huge shout out to our team. We can't put a 6-horse hitch in the ring without them. They're amazing, and that they bring all of the staff out. And these are people that don't always get into the center of the ring. They don't always get that. They might be back in the barn switching harness and doing that hard work. And our team, I feel like, is second to none. Obviously, we're biased, but they are. You see them and how hard they work. And again, just reiterating what you said, because they love it.
Yeah.
This is not in any way a job to them. Just like we've said time and time again, it's not even a career, it's their life. And we're just happy because really that gets to be your family. We spend so much time with them. So I think that's amazing. Then the other thing we never even touched on, 2 of the finals, is that our peers, that's what made me think of it when you said that, awarded the Fall Festival as the top show for all 75, I think, that were held last year. So that was a huge honor, because that shout out goes to the staff down in Mona. Tim and I and the staff are pretty much gone, and we get home and the electricians and the mechanics and the grounds crew, they've taken care of all that. And that, I think that goes out to the staff down there at Mona, because they really do that work, and it shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're beyond honored to have that award given to us, and so happy that we've been able to cater to the draft horse community in such a way and manner that they've voted for our show to be the best show of the year. When we got that banner, I was so happy for all of us. I was like, oh my goodness, we're actually doing something the draft horse community is proud of us in a way. So I'm very, very honored in that sense.
Always think how tickled your dad would have been with that.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
He didn't want to just have a draft horse hitch. He wanted people to come to the Mona farm and be able to show their horses in comfort, but then just maybe wander up to the distillery in the VC and just maybe see and ask a few more questions about these oils that they keep talking about.
Yeah.
He had a vision.
But probably the thing that starts with our success is the Young Living Company and the young family. You guys are so supportive of us, and I have a lot of things going on here, throughout the year. But the time we get to spend with you guys is always lots of fun, and we enjoy it, and we appreciate all your support.
Yeah, well, we love supporting you guys. Like we said, our family is so grateful for the way that you represent and carry Young Living and everything that you do. It truly speaks volumes to who you guys are, to who we are, and we couldn't be more happy with who we have representing Young Living and the team. Love everybody on the team. They're absolutely great and phenomenal. Well, I guess any final words or any last thoughts?
Probably already gearing up. We have had a good run starting out this 2023-2024 year. We have 5 firsts out of 5.
Fantastic.
For the year. So now we're going to work in. We've gotten some younger horses. That's always fun to get a horse that's definitely a diamond in the rough that he's brought home this time. And so that's exciting. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
That's what makes it fun. Each year, the kids now are getting older, so they can take on more. We've had consistency with the staff. I think we have 3 staff now hitting their 5-year sabbaticals.
Wow.
So it's making kind of, when you say reflecting back on the year, we've kind of hit a nice stride where everybody is just growing together. And so excited to see what this year will bring. Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited for both of you. I am excited for this new year. And once again, I love watching what you guys do. I love that you carry Young Living and just do so well with it. And it's just fun to watch you guys do what you love. Just seeing you both up there on the wagon, you can just tell it's something that you love, and just getting to see that, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just great. It's grand.
They'll just have to come out to a show.
Yeah, exactly. You'll definitely have to come out to the show. So links will be in the description, so you can check out the shows, and maybe they'll be in your town and you can come check them out, invite friends and family. It's an amazing time. And after the show, you get to go see the horses and meet with you guys if you choose to do so. So yeah, it's a great time, and we'll make sure to put those there. But thank you both so much for coming on to the podcast once again. And once again, just truly grateful for you guys, the team, and your family, and everything that you do. And can't wait to have you back again next year at the end of the 2024 season. And congratulations to you both on your sabbatical. I know you're heading out to a very fun place. So enjoy, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having us, and thanks for everything.
Special thank you to Tim and Brittany Sparrow and all of those involved with this amazing draft horse team. And thank you all for tuning into this episode of The Wild Drop. Remember, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, on YouTube, and our website at youngliving.com. Don't forget to oil up Young Living family. This is Jacob Young, dropping out. Take care.